You've been lied to, but here is the highly actionable science that works. You hit the gym 5 times a week, you've optimized your protein intake, you track your macros, and you consistently get your 8 hours of sleep. You've done everything right, and yet you feel slow. Your strength gains have stalled, and you wake up feeling like you've been fighting a bear, not recovering from a workout. If this is you, you've been focused on the wrong metric. 8 hours is a lie. It's a volume metric, and volume doesn't mean quality. Your body isn't stalling because you're training too hard. It's stalling because you are completely missing the specific, hidden architecture of sleep required for actual supercompensation. You are sleeping, but you are not recovering. In the next few minutes, we are going to expose the hidden 3-stage sleep cycle that determines your growth hormone, strength gains, and fat loss. More importantly, we'll show you how to hijack the single most critical, overlooked factor, your sleep pressure, to turn your 8 hours from a failure into a physique-building machine. We're breaking down the full science, the growth hormone flood in deep sleep, the CNS reset that makes you strong, and the hormonal battle that destroys your gains. Stop sabotaging your physique. First, let's define the problem. The goal of training is not to build muscle. The goal is to create stress. It's a deliberate process of breaking the body down. This stress creates a recovery hole. You've got 2 main types of debt you incur in every single session. The first is mechanical and metabolic damage. This is the debt you feel. The micro tears in the muscle fibers, the cellular debris, the glycogen depletion, and the buildup of metabolic waste products. This debt requires physical reconstruction. It makes you sore. The second is the far more insidious debt, central nervous system fatigue. Your CNS is the electrical grid that powers your muscles. It's the brain's ability to fire high-threshold motor units, the strong, powerful muscle fibers, and tell them to produce force. When your CNS is fatigued, you feel it as a lack of drive, a drop in coordination, and a severe reduction in absolute strength. This is why you feel weak, even when your muscles aren't particularly sore. You could have a Ferrari engine, strong muscles, but if the battery is dead, fatigued CNS, you're going nowhere. Every training session digs you deeper into that hole. The sole purpose of recovery is to allow you to climb out of the hole, return to your original baseline, and then, if the stimulus was adequate, push beyond that baseline to a new peak performance. This is supercompensation. The problem is, inadequate sleep quality is leaving you permanently in that recovery hole. You're starting your next session below baseline, digging deeper every time. And your body enters a chronic state of under-recovery, which often looks exactly like a training plateau. You are confusing activity for adaptation. The first and most critical phase of true recovery is slow-wave sleep, or SWS. This is your deep sleep, the non-REM stage dominated by slow and steady delta brainwaves. It happens most intensely in the first 3 to 4 hours of your night. This is your body's physical reconstruction phase, and it's non-negotiable for gains. The reason SWS is so powerful is simple. It's when your body releases the single largest pulse of growth hormone, GH. It is the definitive anabolic trigger. GH doesn't just build muscle, it facilitates the entire physical repair process: tendons, ligaments, bone matrix, and yes, muscle fiber repair. It also shifts your fuel metabolism, encouraging your body to burn fat for energy, thereby preserving and synthesizing protein for muscle building. GH is the construction manager and the heavy equipment operator, all rolled into one. But here's where the 8-hour lie becomes catastrophic. You only get this massive GH pulse if you achieve deep, high-quality SWS. And the secret to unlocking this depth is optimizing your sleep pressure. Sleep pressure is your body's internal primal clock, officially known as homeostatic sleep drive. Think of it as a gauge that builds up during the day. As you are awake, a neurochemical called adenosine slowly accumulates in your brain. The higher the concentration of adenosine, the higher the sleep pressure, and the greater the force pushing you into deep, restorative SWS when you finally lie down. If you have weak sleep pressure, say you take a 2-hour nap late in the afternoon, or you have an inconsistent bedtime that confuses your rhythm, you have essentially diluted the adenosine buildup. When you go to bed, your body glides into a shallow, fragmented sleep, missing the required depth to trigger that huge GH pulse. You might log 8 hours, but if your SWS score is only 30 minutes, you've left 80% of your muscle gains and physical repair on the table. The key takeaway: SWS is the physical repair phase, and maximizing its depth requires maximizing your sleep pressure through daytime consistency and avoiding late naps. Now let's look at the second major stage, rapid eye movement sleep, or REM. REM is fascinating. Your body is paralyzed, but your brain is highly active, sometimes more so than when you're awake. It is dominated by fast, low-amplitude brain waves. It happens most often in the second half of the night, closer to your wake-up time. While SWS handles the physical repair, REM handles the neurological and strength-based reset. This phase is vital for the central nervous system, or CNS, and cognitive consolidation. During REM, your brain consolidates memories and, critically, motor skills. That new squat technique, that complex deadlift setup, or that challenging snatch pattern you practiced. REM locks in the neuromuscular pathways. It refines the efficiency of the connection between your brain and your muscle. You are literally making yourself stronger and more coordinated for the next session. Furthermore, REM is the ultimate CNS battery charger. Remember that CNS fatigue we talked about? The lack of drive and ability to recruit muscle fibers? Low REM means a half-charged battery, leading to low drive, poor focus, and an inability to tolerate the high-intensity training required for progress. You will feel mentally fatigued and underpowered. The biggest crime against REM? Waking up too early to train. If you chop off the last 90 minutes of your sleep, you are almost certainly chopping off your most prolonged and beneficial REM cycle. This means you are sacrificing strength, coordination, and mental acuity for an early start. Before we dive into how these two critical phases interact and how a hormonal disaster can destroy all the gains you just worked for, take a quick moment. If you find this deep dive helpful and are serious about optimizing your performance using cutting-edge science, please take 2 seconds, hit that subscribe button, and turn on notifications. We publish content every week dedicated to revealing the hidden strategies that separate the average athlete from the elite. Join the community now. Now, let's get back to the final, most destructive piece of the recovery puzzle: cortisol. The core mistake people make is thinking of sleep as a single block. It's not. It's an architecture, a delicate sequence that requires a full 7 to 9 hours to complete. The cycles in the first half of the night are SWS dominant, physical repair. The cycles in the second half of the night are REM dominant, neurological reset. You need adequate doses of both. But there is a final, destructive piece to the puzzle: the cortisol catastrophe. Cortisol is often known as the stress hormone. It's not inherently bad. The body naturally begins raising cortisol about 2 hours before you are scheduled to wake up. This is a crucial, healthy hormonal signal that prepares your body to stand up, be alert, and start the day. However, when your sleep quality is chronically poor, fragmented, or you're living in a state of high stress, your body triggers a premature and excessive cortisol spike. This early and elevated cortisol is highly catabolic. It breaks down tissue. It begins actively opposing the anabolic work done by the growth hormone released just hours earlier in your SWS cycles. It blunts testosterone production and leads to the breakdown of muscle protein for fuel. Think of it. You train hard to induce the anabolic processes, you get a good GH pulse in deep sleep, and then, because of poor sleep quality, your body prematurely floods your system with a muscle-wasting hormone. You are literally destroying your gains in the final hours of your sleep. So here's the full summary of the sleep architecture's job. The first half, SWS, repairs the physical damage and builds muscle, the anabolic phase, driven by high sleep pressure. The second half, REM, resets the brain, consolidates strength, and defends hormonal balance, the strength and mental phase, driven by consistency in the wake-up time. Failing either half dooms your recovery. 8 hours of fragmented, inconsistent sleep is functionally worse than 6 hours of high-quality, deep, consistent sleep. So how do you fix it? You need to stop tracking minutes and start tracking pressure and architecture. Prioritize sleep pressure for SWS. This is your deep sleep key. The number one rule: fix your wake-up time first. A consistent wake-up time is the primary driver for building strong, consistent sleep pressure. The 16 hours you are awake set the stage for the 8 hours you are asleep. Avoid all caffeine within 8 hours of bed and bright overhead lights within 2 hours. Your goal is maximum adenosine buildup. Protect REM for CNS. Ensure you are getting a minimum of 7 hours, ideally 8 to 9, to guarantee you hit the vital REM-heavy cycles in the morning. Use a blackout mask and earplugs to prevent external disruption from prematurely spiking your cortisol and waking you up. Stop leaving gains on the table. The gym makes you strong, but sleep makes you a champion. Start focusing on sleep pressure and the hidden 3-stage cycle today, and watch your strength and size finally explode. Now I want to hear from you. What's the single biggest change you plan to make to your sleep routine after watching this? Drop a comment below and let me know.